welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Figuring Out Epilepsy, where we talk about all things epilepsy plus more. Thank you guys for always supporting, always, letting me know what you guys think of the podcast. I truly appreciate it. And honestly, your feedback gives me the motivation, the energy, and the inspiration to continue with this podcast. I feel like I am able to help a lot of people through this, and people are able to relate to my struggles and my life with epilepsy. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. I truly appreciate all the feedback that you guys give me. But today's going to be a little something different. I'm not going to talk to the people who are within the epilepsy community. I am going to talk to the people who are new, whether it's, a family member was just diagnosed with epilepsy, you found out one of your friends have epilepsy, or, you happen to come across my page or my podcast and you want to learn more about epilepsy. This episode is dedicated to all you people who are trying to learn more about epilepsy and trying to understand epilepsy. Trust me, epilepsy is very complicated. So don't feel like you have to understand epilepsy in its entirety all at once. Even those of us within the epilepsy community are still finding new things out every single day. It wasn't until I started posting on social media that I found out sex is a trigger for epilepsy. It wasn't until I read Dating in the Dark by Jeff that I found out hallucinations and epilepsy are a thing. So even though there's so much information out there, there's also a lot of wrong information and a lot of information that is enhanced by whether it's pranks or movies, television shows, things like that. There's a lot of misconceptions out there for epilepsy, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who even take the time to understand epilepsy a little bit more. It's your willingness to learn about epilepsy that's going to make a difference in our community. It's your wanting to understand epilepsy that is going to help us. And I just want to say thank you, because we need more people out there. And one of my goals since I started posting on social media was not only to reach the epilepsy community and create a safe space for everyone to where they don't feel alone, they feel like they have someone they can relate to. I also wanted to reach those that aren't within the epilepsy community, those who happen to hear the word epilepsy or happen to come across my page to so they can learn more. Because honestly, the way I see it is, if we can get those people who aren't in the epilepsy community have empathy for us and have understanding for what we go through, we can make some big changes in this world and within our community. So I just think that, I am all for welcoming anyone who just have a genuine curiosity and just have a genuine knowledge, or not knowledge, but like genuine wanting of understanding and to know epilepsy better. So again, thank you for being that person for us. And I hope that this episode finds you well and you are able to learn just a little bit more. I don't want this to be a do's and don'ts. Personally, I feel like when you do the don'ts, it kind of puts that fear in, like, oh, wait, am I going to offend that person with the epilepsy? Am I going to do something wrong? It kind of puts that fear, that intimidation, that not willingness and curiosity to want to learn more about epilepsy. I want this to be a positive space, an encouraging space to where it gets more people wanting to learn about epilepsy and have a better understanding of epilepsy. So I am going to just let you know what I think about how you can help those of us within the epilepsy community. First things first, what you are doing by listening to my podcast or following my page or someone else in the epilepsy community's page who is also a content creator, listening to other podcasts, not doesn't even necessarily have to be mine, reading books, Googling things about epilepsy. I want to just say that you are heading in the right step. The fact that you're here wanting to learn more about epilepsy makes a huge difference. Not a lot of people do that. A lot of people just, to be quite honest, take us as a joke, and we are made to look like we're possessed, or we're not really sick, or we're just complaining just to complain. And it's not about that. It's about giving a community a voice that hasn't had a voice. And if we are able to bring the epilepsy community with those who don't have epilepsy together, we can make such a big difference. And just thank you so much for even willing to learn more. So that's first things first. If you are able to pick up a book about epilepsy, I have a whole post on my Instagram with several different epilepsy books. You can always DM me. You could always comment down below. But there are several books out there that are about epilepsy. Wonderful information. Go on different content creators' pages. There's more and more content creators, like, I feel like every day, and there's people out here trying to spread awareness for epilepsy, which is wonderful. I'm so happy. I wish I had this when I was younger. But there's so many pages you can follow. Like, there's Tiffany, there's Bree, SoCal Epilepsy. There's different podcasts. There's come goes with the waves, or something with the waves. I'll link it down below. There's What the F podcast, Hazy Not Crazy podcast. There's so many podcasts out there that you can learn about epilepsy. And of course, my podcast. So, just looking up information, first step, beautiful. You guys are already doing that. Wonderful. Another thing that I would advise people is ask questions. I don't want to speak for the epilepsy community, but I can confidently say that most of us in the epilepsy community, if you came to us with a genuine question about epilepsy, about seizures, we would ask you, and we would be happy the fact that you're trying to get correct information about epilepsy rather than believing the misconceptions, the stigmas, the wrong information that is out there in the world. So I absolutely welcome all the questions that you have, even if you think it's dumb, even if you think it may be embarrassing, or even if you think that I might get offended. I am not someone who gets easily offended. So if you have a question about epilepsy, if you have a question about seizures, please, you can comment down below. You can email me. You can DM me through Instagram or TikTok, and I would be happy to answer your questions. I encourage them, and I'm sure the epilepsy community encourages as well. Most of us would rather give you the correct information than you believing the wrong information that has been put out there into the world. So that is another tip for you guys, is just ask questions. There is no dumb questions. So go ahead and ask away. Another tip that I think is super important. This may take a little bit more effort on your part, but honestly, it's what, like an hour, maybe more. It doesn't take that long. It's not like a week's worth of information or week's worth of work. You got a little bit extra time. Go to the Epilepsy Foundation, search up Seizure First Aid Certified, and get certified. With the more people who get Seizure First Aid Certified and understand how to identify seizures and how to help someone when they do have a seizure, helps us stay safe. So if you are able to get Seizure First Aid Certified, you can do it online. You don't even have to go into the class. The Epilepsy Foundation made it so easy to where you can just do it online. I got certified online. My daughter got certified online when she was like, I don't know, like 9 or 10. And it was super easy. That will be such a tremendous help because there's still that belief that when you see someone have a seizure, you're supposed to hold them down, or you're supposed to put something in their mouth keep them from swallowing their tongue. That is wrong information. That is information that is years and years old. That information is false. You cannot swallow your tongue. You may see someone bite their tongue and you may see blood, but a person cannot physically swallow their tongue, and you are not supposed to put anything in their mouth. And the Epilepsy Foundation also teaches you what you should do, how to keep that person safe, whether you should call 911 or not, because when you see someone have, for example, a tonic-clonic seizure, it can be super stressful. It can be super intimidating, especially if you've never seen a seizure in your life before. But if you get Seizure First Aid Certified, you will know how to keep that person safe. You will know how to potentially save that person's life, because epilepsy and seizures can take a person's life. And if you are out here and you're just out in the world and you see someone have a seizure and you already know what to do, you can save that person's life. So I highly recommend that you get Seizure First Aid Certified and know how to keep a person safe. Um, like when I hear people get a seizure first aid certified, it brings so much joy to my heart, because I'm like, wow, that person is gonna make a difference in someone's life. That person is helping keep the epilepsy community safe, and I truly appreciate that. Wonderful. If you just found out your friend has epilepsy, maybe they didn't tell you right away, or maybe they just got diagnosed themselves. You found out that they have epilepsy, be patient with them. They when you are living with a chronic illness, especially something like epilepsy, you go through a lot, physically, mentally, emotionally, and every single day is a fight. Be patient with them. Try to be understanding. Try to put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from. If you are able to do that, you will be able to help that person. You mentally, emotionally, physically, like you would be able to be such a support system in that person's life. And I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of pressure, and that I don't know if I want to do that. Trust me, you will make such a difference, and honestly, anything counts. So don't feel pressure to have to be everything for this person. Just, just be there. Be there, be supportive, be understanding, be patient. Those little things will help tremendously. If you want to do more for that person, if you want to help them in other ways, there's always, most of us can't drive. Most of us don't have our license. So if you are able to give this person a ride to their doctor's office, or to get their medication, or to work, or to, I don't know, or just hang out, if you guys are making plans to hang out, and this person doesn't drive, offer them a ride. Offer them, like, hey, like, you want to hang out? Let's go to the movies. Do you, like, I'll pick you up at this time. Offer that ride, because it would make our lives so much easier if you guys just offered that ride, because like I said, a lot of us don't drive. A lot of us aren't able to drive, and whether we like it or not, we have to rely on other people in getting from point A to point B. Whether that's Uber, whether that's public transportation, whether it's that waiting for someone who's able to give us a ride. And sometimes we're embarrassed to even ask for that. We feel ashamed. We feel like we don't want to bother them. We don't want to be a burden to them. We feel like we don't want them to go out of their way. But if you are willing to do that for someone, and you are willing to go that extra mile and help someone in that way, and you're capable of doing it, and I mean capable as in you have the time, then offer them a ride. It would be so much help. Those little things like that would be so much help. If you found out that this person just had a seizure, they may not answer you right away, but shoot them a text. Be like, hey, I heard you had a seizure. I know you're probably not feeling well. Is there anything I can do for you? Do you need me to bring you food? Do you need water? Do you need, pain medication? Do you need bandages? Like, what can I do to help you? Doing something like that will help so tremendously, and it would mean the world to us, because to be quite honest, we don't get that a lot. And a lot of times we feel like we're kind of getting through epilepsy on our own. So if you're able to be there for us in that way as well, so much help. It will be such a game changer for us. Um another thing another tip that you can do to help us out is plan activities that are safe for us. Ask them, while you're asking and getting to know epilepsy, ask them, like, what are they able to do? Are they able to swim? Do they feel comfortable swimming? Are they able to go to the movies? Are they photosensitive? Ask them what they're able to do, and make plans around that. It's like once in a while. So, kind of be include them in activities that they're able to do. If they want to go out to eat just to get out of the house, invite them to go eat, or invite them to go to the park. Um, I I get invited to go to Six Flags. I'm able to do things like that. I get invited to go to Six Flags. I get invited to go swimming, or to the beach and things like that. And when I get invited, I feel so much better about my epilepsy, because I'm like, okay, epilepsy is not holding me back from being able to hang out with my friends, or being able to hang out with my loved ones. Epilepsy isn't gonna ruin my life, so to speak. So being considerate in what activities you invite us to would make such a difference. And going along with that is, don't pressure someone to drink alcohol. That can be a trigger for people with epilepsy. That can cause someone to have a seizure. So if they have epilepsy, they have seizures, and you're in a group where other people are drinking and this one person isn't drinking alcohol, don't try to pressure them into drinking alcohol. That's not going to make the situation better. Just be okay with the fact that they're not drinking alcohol. It is okay not to drink. It is okay. You don't have to drink alcohol every single time you go out. It's not a necessity. And if it is a necessity, maybe you should evaluate your life. Like, not to sound rude, but maybe you should evaluate your life and see why it's a necessity. But yeah, don't pressure someone to have alcohol, to drink alcohol. It's, be okay with the fact that, they take their health seriously and they're not willing to put themselves at risk and put you guys in a situation where it may freak you guys out and stress you guys out and even potentially even ruin the night. So just don't pressure people with epilepsy to drink alcohol. On that same note, if they cancel at the last minute, be understanding. The last thing that we want to do is cancel plans, because guaranteed that's probably the first time in a long time that we're going to be able to go out. So if we cancel plans, it's because it's for a good reason. It's not because we're just being lazy and we're using our epilepsy as an excuse. No, it's because we generally don't feel well and we are not willing to risk having a seizure in public where we can potentially hurt ourselves or others. So we would rather just stay home where it's safe and get that proper rest that we need. And then maybe next time you guys can all hang out and do something. But if someone lets you know, like, hey, I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to be able to go, be understanding. Be like, okay, next time I hope you feel better. Something like that. Don't be like, oh, you always do that, or oh, epilepsy always gets in the way. Yeah, we feel that way too. We feel that way too. Trust me. We don't want to be out here canceling plans, especially when we fear that, like, if we cancel plans all the time, you may not invite us anymore. That has plagued my mind in the past before. So just like understanding and empathy goes a long way when you have a relationship with someone in the epilepsy community or even with chronic illness in general. Like, empathy is such a powerful tool, and if you are able to have empathy for someone, you would be a good person to have within our community. Um um, another tip is just talk to them. See how they're doing. How are they doing mentally? How are they doing emotionally? Epilepsy takes a toll on us mentally, emotionally, physically. People with epilepsy are at risk of suicide, are a higher risk of suicide. A lot of people with epilepsy have depression or anxiety because for so many different reasons. That's a whole other episode on its own. But we go through mental health issues along with our epilepsy. So be understanding, be a listening ear, be someone that we feel comfortable to open up to. Those small little things make such a huge difference. And if you feel comfortable, advocate for those of us in the epilepsy community. If you hear someone make a crude joke about epilepsy, tell them that's not right. If you see an epilepsy prank on social media, report it. Comment, that's not right. We shouldn't be making fun of people in the epilepsy community. Advocating for us and helping us advocate for ourselves, it we need that in the epilepsy community. So if you feel comfortable, advocate for someone within the epilepsy community and encourage your friend, your family member, whoever it is, to reach out to someone within the epilepsy community to advocate for themselves, to not take no for an answer, to not allow themselves to be discriminated against. If you see that within the workplace or within school, don't be afraid to speak up and say something. Sometimes we ourselves are afraid to speak up and say something because we're afraid of the backlash we're going to get. But if we have other people supporting us and speaking up for us, it will give us the courage to be able to speak up for ourselves and say, this isn't right. We need to change this. So advocate for us, encourage us to advocate for ourselves. I feel like I've been saying this entire time, but every little thing that you do will make such a huge difference in someone's life. And, a lot of people within the epilepsy community crave that independence, crave feeling like they're an adult or they're able to live their life as everyone else that don't have epilepsy. One thing that I truly appreciate from my sister, aka my ex-sister-in-law, when you hear me say my sister, I'm talking about my ex-sister-in-law. One thing that I truly appreciate her from the moment I met her is that she always encouraged me to be independent. She always encouraged me to be a strong, independent woman. She always encouraged me to continue to live my life, regardless of epilepsy or not. And she always, created that safe space for me. So when we would go out, and it would just be the two of us, she allowed me to get a little wild and just wild out, because she knows I probably haven't done that in months because I hardly ever go out, and that goes with other people in the epilepsy community. But she allowed me to do that, but she kept an eye on me. She made sure that I was safe. She took me to places where we both had fun, but I was safe. I was able to go out and forget that I even had epilepsy for one night. I truly appreciate her for doing that for me. It has made such a huge difference in not only my life, but how I feel about myself. It allowed me to feel more confident in my capabilities as someone living with epilepsy. It made me feel more confident within myself and feel like epilepsy can't stop me. It made me feel beautiful, to be quite honest, because I would see myself get all dolled up and I would look at myself and I'm not in pajamas and my hair up and looking like a mess. I encourage everyone to do the same for a loved one, for a friend, for whoever's in the epilepsy community, to just allow them to be independent. They can be independent and still be safe. Don't keep them in the bubble. Don't keep them hidden away in the house and trying to keep them in a padded room where nothing can hurt them. They will never grow as a person like that. They will never feel the independence that we desperately crave. The people that I keep in my life, as far as friends, are people who encourage me to be independent. My ex-sister-in-law is one of them. Kat is another. If you guys haven't heard that episode with Kat, definitely check it out. I absolutely adore Kat. He's such a wonderful reminder that epilepsy can't define us and shouldn't define us, and we are capable regardless of our illness or not. And I even re-listened to that episode because sometimes I need that little tough love from Kat. And in that episode, he talks about how he's going to strap me onto his motorcycle and give me a ride because I've always wanted to ride a motorcycle, but I was always way afraid to even try. But the fact that he was like, I'm going to strap you on and we are going to go for a ride, absolutely adore people like that. Just my dad was another one. He never allowed my epilepsy to hinder me from my dreams, from me being independent, from me wanting to pursue whatever I wanted. He even encouraged me to move away to a different state and get a fresh new start and figure out my own life independently. He understands and he fears just like any parent would, but he doesn't forget the fact that being an independent person can make a huge difference for someone, and it's not just in their lives but how they feel about themselves, because a lot of times our self-esteem is affected with the fact that we're not independent, that we have to rely on other people, and it makes us feel like we're a burden. It makes us feel like we're useless, we're worthless, and these are all thoughts I've had of myself. And it makes us feel like who's gonna care about me, because who's gonna want to hang around me because I have epilepsy. Those are those are all things that you can help with this person if you just create a safe space for them to be independent. So do what my ex-sister-in-law did and take us out and allow us to get a little wild, but keep us safe. Always, safety is always number one. And I'm trying to think of how it was said, but I saw a TikTok once where it was a child doing something dangerous safely. So just think of it like that. You're encouraged. We're doing something dangerous because of our epilepsy, but we're doing it safely with the watchful eye of someone close by. And I guarantee you, it's gonna make such a huge difference to someone in the epilepsy community. So that's all I really have to say. I might do a part 2, but I just want to thank everyone for continuing to support, and stay tuned for the next episode of Figuring Out Epilepsy.